and Kia Ora viewers. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Strategy, the show where we dive deep in the minds of founders, leaders, and bold decision makers shaping the future. For today's guest, he's someone who's leading innovation with strong sense of purpose. Niru Rajakumar, who's the CEO of McCrae Tech. From building powerful tech solutions to navigating real world business strategies, Nehru brings a mix of vision, experience, and humility that makes this conversation one to tune in fully. Nehru, welcome to the show. It's a real honor to have you here.
Thanks, Ankur. That's a great introduction. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Nehru. So let's quickly jump to our questionnaire session. So, as I mentioned, we've got 5 segments. So, the segment number one is the origin story. Let's go back to where it all began. So, Nehru, I've seen your experience that you've worked across several organizations in various domains. How did you get on board with McCrae Tech?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll start with the bit of the background over the last 12 months because McCrae Tech is a new company born out of a transaction that Orion Health, which my previous company went through, and that concluded earlier this year. But it was basically through an acquisition of Orion Health, which the founder of Orion Health was Ian McCrae, and decided to sell the business to a Canadian company called Healwell AI. And out of that transaction, half of the assets remained and was divested into a new spin-off company called McCrae Tech. And it's really to continue the legacy of Ian McCrae and thinking about how we can modernize healthcare and now with a sharper focus on agility and innovation.
Thank you for sharing that story. And I think that's a really great start because now we know the origin and the start of McCrae Tech as well. So thank you for sharing that. Lovely. So next question on the list is, did you always see yourself building something as unique as McCrae Tech?
Yeah, look, I think I can't take the credit for building the company, but I have played a key role in it, being that I have had a lot of support, including from the founder, Ian, his family involved in it, including my co-CEO, Lucy Porter, and a number of people from Orion Health that actually played a really pivotal role in establishing the company. So, yeah, it was a real team effort. But look, I think from my perspective, this was the biggest bet of my career because a few months ago, I was really enjoying my time at Orion Health. I've been in the company for 12 years in various different roles, but this was the time for me. And when this opportunity came, I thought, let's give it a go. I've always backed myself. And this was the time for me to take the next step and really take McCrae Tech and write my own sort of chapter in this particular area.
Thank you for that. Next is business mission and vision, usually are kept quite flexible depending upon how the requirement works and how the customer works. They can and they can be changed accordingly. So the question around this is, what has changed about the mission of McCrae Tech since the time you've joined and up to now?
Yeah, our mission is really to create innovation in healthcare and make an impact to better outcomes for either clinicians, patients, or consumers of healthcare. And then if we kind of narrow it down, we have 2 core businesses in McCrae Tech. One particularly that focuses around hospitals, and really in that space is my sweet spot, and that's the business that I lead. And for that, our mission is to produce our next generation of hospital systems where it's smarter, scalable, and it's really transformative for the hospital care. And then the second part to the organization is another business, which is called Orchestral, and that's a health intelligence data platform. And that's really about population health and how to intervene early with the right information and provide insights into organizations or clinicians or researchers that are actually trying to make an impact for a larger population. So between the two, we've got a great recipe for definitely innovation, but also making a big impact out there.
Thank you for sharing that. And that kind of entails to my next segment, which is my next question as well, which is strategy in action. Now, you mentioned about the 2 segments that you're currently working on, and That's the blend of that would be the success, matrix or the success ratio for you to identify how you're actually getting to that. Now the question on in this segment is how do you define, or what led you to define strategy for both the segments, and what was the origin of it? If you can share the story around that.
Yeah, sure. So with one part of the business that we're on a dual growth track between the two businesses. One heavily focusing around growth in engineering and going to market, which is on the orchestral health data platform side. And with a lot of the technology built over the last 30 years under Orion Health, this was the time to launch that and bring it under McCrae Tech. So there was some strategy around how best to position that platform, but also give it some focus. Equally, I would say for the hospitals business, the same thing. It's more of a scale-up phase for hospitals. We've had customers and a big part of the market in Asia Pacific for better half of 15 years now. And now, again, giving it some sharper focus and actually the ability for it to grow. This was, again, the time for us to go, well, these two businesses can actually run as independent businesses under McCrae Tech with the right investment and support. And that's exactly what we've done. And part of the strategy is to actually now set us up for success.
Amazing. And just another question around health tech. So because health tech is a vastly growing industry across the globe. So how do you believe, or do you believe in competition for McCrae Tech, or is it all about collaborations that you do globally, or per se New Zealand, Australia as well?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I'm a big believer in partnerships. We're in a world where you can't find someone, especially in this space, that can do everything in healthcare. And so it is about partnerships and how you work together in collaboration, how you complement each other, how you can help each other in the right places. So from my perspective, we know what our strengths are and our sweet spots, and we also know where we need to actually grow and focus on. But equally, at the same time, we also know where we're not going to actually, invest in or particularly are interested in that part of healthcare. So for that, you really do need to partner. And from my perspective, it's about, at the end of the day, putting the patient or the consumer of healthcare in the middle. And if you put them in the middle and go through the journey, it's about providing them the best experience. And for that, we all have to work together to achieve that.
Sharing that. One last question in this segment is if you'd like to share any key decision that you have taken lately that helped you shift the game.
Yeah. I think with 3 months of the company launch, I'd like to think that we've done quite a bit, but probably one key thing that I had to swiftly take the right action on is to reshuffle and prioritize our R&D effort. And so we have teams across New Zealand and Asia. And for me, my R&D team is based out of Bangkok and a mixture of different people from different parts of the world. And so really thinking about what our strategy is for the years to come and where we need to prioritize our roadmap, what the market's asking for. And based on that, we had to reshuffle the team. And again, this is a team that has been previously with Orion and have set course for a long time. So it's something that we had to act quickly, and I'm glad it was done in the last 3 months.
And that's how quickly big businesses actually make themselves out as well. So thank you for sharing that. Lovely. Jumping on to the next segment, which is the leader's choice and lessons. Love this segment. There's some really good questions. You've just shared one key decision that you've made recently. So the next question is a pivot you weren't sure about initially, but glad you actually made that.
I think I'll start with my decision for my own role into McCrae Tech. I mean, I touched on that just before, but look, for me, the real reasons I did that is I believed in the legacy. I believed in what Ian McCrae had built over the last 30 years. I loved everything that we've done in healthcare and Orion Health. And then when you present that opportunity to lead a company on your own with a really great team, it was a no-brainer for me. And we actually brought across 100 people as part of the setup of the company, which really helped us because at the end of the day, for me, it's about having a great team and great people around you that you can actually trust and work with, which is a big part of the decision for me.
So much. Another question. Now, this is an interesting one. A mistake that taught you something big.
Oh, okay. A mistake. Look, I think I'd like to think that everything we do on a day to day, you do learn something from it. And probably for me as being ruthlessly focused and being a new company, you do get a lot of distractions time to time. And I think the mistake that I wouldn't necessarily put it into the mistake bucket, but it is something that I had to quickly think about and say, is this the right thing for me to do? And which is, you'd come across a lot of engagement in the market, and sometimes it can lead into rabbit holes. So for me, it's really pulling back and reflecting, going, is that really what we do as a core business? And if not, I don't think we should invest any more time in it.
That's one of the finest answers that I've got. So thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Another question is now, as you mentioned, the market is quite overwhelming. I mean, it can rapidly change. The requirements can change, and you have to keep up with everything. So, how do you keep your head straight and focused when you're actually in this situation of being overwhelmed?
I come back to giving all the credit to my team. I mean, that's the real reason. Look, as a CEO, there's a lot to take on as far as responsibilities, but it doesn't happen without a very strong team around you and people that you can trust, and vice versa. So for me, leadership is at its core, and if that's something that is well established, I think the rest of it sort of follows through. And then, of course, the supporting party around you at home as well as in your professional life is very important. So I'm very fortunate, being a father of two and a husband. I have that support from my family, but also in the professional network, I have since in the last 3 months connected with like-minded people in either the CEO space or founder space. So I do get some valuable insights of how to actually lead a company on your own.
That's a big learning that I'll definitely take from this aspect. Thank you. Lovely. Now, jumping to the next segment, which is another interesting segment, looking ahead and what's next. So, the first question in this is what's coming up that you're excited about in McCrae Tech?
Oh, okay. Now we're getting to the exciting stuff. Um, Look, I think the craze at the moment, I'd like to call out, I think, without stating the obvious, is AI. Everyone is talking about it, and for us at the moment, we've had lots of conversations about how AI can make an impact in healthcare. But before we really nosedived into that, one of the first things we did in the last couple of months is to really go, how do we set an AI first culture within McCrae Tech? And that means not just using AI for the sake of AI, but actually understanding the impact it has on your day to day. Whether you're in a development team or in a sales team or a marketing team, having an AI first mindset that it's actually going to be there to support you and it's going to be there for the long term is very important. And we've got some training arranged for that for staff to achieve some of that. Also, we've done a first survey to get some feedback on our current state as far as AI adoption. What do people believe in, or how can we actually support them? So we've done a real first baseline. And so now is to go how we actually can shift that mindset and culture within the organization. And then the next iteration in parallel to that is actually now how can we actually develop the software to align to some of the AI use cases that can make an impact, which I'll also add in that partnering is a big part of it because there are other organizations that specialize in AI. So working with them is important for us too.
Exciting. And how they say AI is the answer for tomorrow. So, looking forward to it. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you. Another question, kind of correlated to the first one itself. Now you've mentioned about AI as a trend that which definitely is the answer for tomorrow. But Any other trends you think other founders should also be paying attention to, considering the change, like the relative change in the market?
Yeah, I think at the moment it's a very challenging time at the moment for a lot of companies, and I'm talking about from a macroeconomic point of view. You think about statements like last year, hashtag 25 to survive, and that really reflects on the current climate globally. And every country will differ, but globally, it's not a very aggressive market at the moment. It's quite the other end. People are quite reserved in terms of their recruiting or even doing business. So my experience and sort of lessons of in the last few months is be really again focused on what you do well and do that really, really well. And where you need support, again, take that approach of partnering and working with others. And along the way, you will help each other. So that would be probably my tip to share. And then again, it's because it's a tough time to do business. Um, the fact that you just have to balance out how you can actually do business in the right areas, the right countries, the right regions, all of that plays a big role.
Great. Thank you for that. Next question is a detour from what and where we are actually driving, but this question is quite important to our viewers because most of them are either aspirants or running startup businesses as well, including Strapmate. So, on that aspect, are you open to collaborations, mentoring, or giving back your ways that may work for the other founders as well?
Absolutely. I'd say I almost stumbled upon into health tech about 13 years ago. And I really can't see myself doing anything else. I love healthcare. Don't get me wrong, it comes with its challenges that it can be quite slow. But once you make an impact, when you make an impact, it's very rewarding. So one of my things is how can I give back? Back to your question, I'm actually playing a voluntary role in the board of Health Informatics New Zealand. So that's one way for me to really give back to the community. But at the same time, I pride myself in leadership, and I've always been in leadership roles throughout my career. So I'd love to take on more opportunities in the mentoring space or coaching space, and happy to share my insights, but also learn from others.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Love to hear that. Lovely. One last question in this segment is again correlated to this. Uh, Looking at 30 years from now, you are almost towards the end of your work phase. You're planning to retire now. In that aspect, what kind of impact do you want to leave behind for the other leaders as well?
I'd like to think that it's less than 30 years. I'm at that point, but I'll take it. No, that's fine. Look, I think it's we're at a time where leadership has evolved over the years, even when I started my career. But talking to people that are much older than me in their careers, and I would say I would center it around compassionate leadership is quite important, especially because you're working with different generations of people, right up until the people that are coming out of university, and they fundamentally operate different to people that are my age or older, right? So I think that's probably the key thing is thinking about the evolving nature of leadership and adapting to it.
Thank you for sharing that. Lovely. That brings us to the last segment of our show, Niru. This is going really amazing. And the last segment is rapid fire. This is just for fun round,
Okay.
casually asking questions and such. The first one is one habit that keeps you at your best.
Oh, I think having a really solid routine, and that's hard with my role because I also have travel involved. So that does set me off a little bit. But otherwise, having a really solid routine that I can rely on, whether that's actually going to the gym consistently, which I do a lot, or having a bit of downtime to catch up on some sports, which I am a big fan of, or catching up with friends. But yeah, having a set routine that you're really disciplined about is very important for me.
Next is a founder or leader that you admire.
My own founder, Ian McCrae. So I admire him deeply, and that's why I'm here. So his name popped up to my head first and foremost. So yeah, I'd probably that's what I'll go with.
You. Now, what's your go-to morning beverage? Are you a coffee person or a strong chai person? How do you function early in the morning?
Yeah, that's a fascinating question because, believe it or not, I've never touched coffee in my life before my kids were born. But since then, I have been drinking coffee, and so I am a morning coffee person. And also, my go-to breakfast is avocado on toast.
Delightful. Lovely. And the last question in this segment, Nero, is a fun fact most people do not know about you.
Okay. uh, I've got three tattoos.
Nice.
That's probably what I'll go with. I'm not going to say where, but yeah, but they're all deeply personal to me, and that'd be the fun fact.
Course. Thank you for sharing your answers. Nero, this brings us to an end to this wonderful show. Thank you so much for joining us today. And what a powerful, down to earth, and honest conversation. Love it. Absolutely love it, Nero. So, from your leadership at McCrae Tech to the way you're thinking about strategy, resilience, and future growth, entirety of it was amazing. So, thank you so much for joining again.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ankur. Glad to be here, and I'm pleased you had me in the show. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Also, to everyone listening, if you found value in today's chat, don't forget to subscribe, share this episode, and follow Let's Talk Strategy across YouTube, Spotify, and all other StratMate channels. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and keep talking strategy. This is Let's Talk Strategy. Thank you.